Ladies and gentlemen, the New Orleans Saints just keep on getting better. Not only did they have an absolutely stacked free agency, finding their franchise quarterback Derek Carr, and also renegotiating a deal with Michael Thomas, you know, that guy who used to be the offensive player of the year. And now they've made another move, and they also had their 2023 NFL draft where they loaded up on the defensive side of the football and grabbed a quarterback who could be a sleeper years down the road. We're going to break down what the Saints did to load up this team and how they can compete in the NFC South and perhaps find themselves deep into the playoffs, considering the fact that they have the easiest schedule in the NFL. But first, Foster Moreau, who was previously diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma, which is a form of cancer, and this was found out during a routine physical visit with the New Orleans Saints. Well, his prognosis has been good. It seems like he's going to be able to play at least this season and on to the future. And now he is signing a contract with the New Orleans Saints, and this is absolutely insane because it is a 3-year contract, $12 million value, and that is $8 million fully guaranteed. And the Saints already signed another tight end who balled out for them last year, Juwan Johnson, to a 2-year contract, $12 million. So the Saints are investing heavily in this position, a position where Derek Carr has been quite successful throughout his career, throwing to guys like Darren Waller, Jared Cook, and of course, Foster Moreau. And it's crazy, Derek Carr teaming up with offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael, who's been with the New Orleans Saints for many years. This is going to be an interesting matchup because Derek Carr is going to have a lot of freedom to run the offense the way he wants to, and that is why he is bringing so many former Raiders. He now has Foster Moreau, recruited Jonathan Abram on the defensive side of the football, and the Saints also recently picked up wide receiver, the former 3rd-round pick in 2020, Bryan Edwards, who John Gruden once compared to T.O.
You know, Edwards has great ability. He's got great ability. I'm excited about him. You see, he looks like T.O. He looks like one of the number 1 wideouts in the league.
And Bryan Edwards will be a great insurance policy in case Michael Thomas is not 100%. We know Michael Thomas was absolutely stoked that Derek Carr signed with the New Orleans Saints, and so he signed an incentive-based contract for this year. And even if it does not work out and the injury bug still gets this guy, you have Bryan Edwards there, who has proven in his short playing time that he can make some critical catches at key moments. He's just also dealt with injury issues as well. But these receivers and tight ends are being added to an offense that already has some great weapons. Former 1st-round pick out of Ohio State, Chris Olave, who in his rookie season last year had over 1,000 yards, is going to make another big jump in year 2 with the rest of these weapons around him. And the Saints still have Rashid Shaheed, the speedster who balled out towards the end of the season just last year. Keep in mind, Taysom Hill is still there if you need to have some gadget plays. And Alvin Kamara should be back by mid-season for the New Orleans Saints, but in the meantime, they have Jamal Williams there at running back. And this guy is definitely going to be a force in the red zone considering the fact that he had 17 touchdowns last year. And we still have not talked about this defense that has the Honey Badger Tyrann Mathieu over there at safety, who just last year was the 5th highest graded safety according to PFF. Marshawn Lattimore is still there at cornerback, who we know has played at a high level. Then you got Demario Davis at linebacker, who had the 7th highest coverage PFF grade of every linebacker in the NFL, along with Cameron Jordan, the longtime New Orleans Saints former Pro Bowler. Everybody knows this guy. And we still have not gotten into the 2023 draft for the New Orleans Saints. In the 6th round, the New Orleans Saints selected wide receiver out of Wake Forest, A.T. Perry. This guy has had over 1,000 yards each of the past 2 seasons, and he is a great deep threat at 6'3", 198 pounds. And what's crazy is that Perry was a consensus top 100 pick going into the draft. The New Orleans Saints got an absolute steal here. Perry claims that he heard character stuff as part of the reason why he fell in the draft, but he thought it was odd because he says he's kind of a quiet guy. But this makes the Saints wide receiver room just that much more loaded and gives them an insurance policy in case there's still some injury issues to players like Michael Thomas and Bryan Edwards. And in the 5th round, the Saints selected a safety, Jordan Howden out of Minnesota. The Saints already have Marcus May, Tyrann Mathieu. They recently signed Jonathan Abram, but they add some more depth, grabbing a sure tackler. Jordan Howden has an amazing missed tackle rate of 3%, only misses 3% of the time, and this is a guy who's played a lot of snaps, over 2,000 snaps the past 3 years.
New Orleans State!
And in the 4th round, man, do I love this draft pick. The New Orleans Saints traded up to grab Jake Haener out of Fresno State. After you saw Jake Haener selected, the quarterback dominoes started to fall in the later rounds. And it seems like a lot of people wanted this guy. Balled out at the Senior Bowl, was the MVP, knows Derek Carr. They're both Fresno State alums. The Saints QB room is just Fresno State. And we did a video about this. Check it out if you have not yet on this channel. But I truly believe Jake Haener has all it takes to be a great quarterback in the NFL. Size is the only thing holding him back. And to be honest, he's a little bigger than Bryce Young. So I think if Bryce Young could make it, Jake Haener definitely can. And in the 4th round with pick 103, the New Orleans Saints select Nick Saldiveri of the Old Dominion Monarchs. And this is a great pick for the Saints because they have to address offensive line. They recently declined the 5th-year option of Cesar Ruiz. And even though Saldiveri here is a tackle, many people think he will convert to guard in the NFL. He played a little bit of a right guard last year. 6'6", 318 pounds with an 85 pass blocking grade last season. And in the 3rd round, the New Orleans Saints select the TCU running back Kendre Miller. This guy is a bell cow over there at TCU. He played so many snaps last year, had over 1,300 yards. He's over 220 pounds. He's ready to compete at the NFL. He could handle it in terms of his size and the workload that he's experienced. And the crazy thing about him is he's barely turning 21 in June. And what a lot of people like about this guy is he has a great burst and great flexibility for being a bigger back. So this should be a great guy to study under Jamal Williams and Alvin Kamara. And in the 2nd round, the New Orleans Saints select the edge rusher out of Notre Dame, Isaiah Foskey. We know the Saints need edge rushers. Yes, they have Cameron Jordan, but they let Marcus Davenport go out there into free agency. And Turner, the former 1st-round pick, never really worked out. And I know Turner did deal with injury issues, but he was a healthy scratch part of last year, and I think Foskey is going to compete and quite possibly be a starter for the New Orleans Saints. The Saints could still elect to go with Carl Granderson at edge rusher, but Isaiah Foskey, I believe, will definitely still be in the mix if he's selected in the 2nd round. Had 12 sacks last year, 11 the year prior. He has great length. He's praised for his containment on the edge. His main problem is strength and in the running game and whenever he lines up inside. So the Saints can utilize Granderson, who's more of a run defense edge rusher, and then bring on Foskey on passing downs. So this is a smart pick, a pass rush specialist for a specific need on your team. And in the 1st round, the New Orleans Saints select the interior defensive tackle out of Clemson, Bryan Bresee. And the Saints really need help at defensive tackle. They signed Kalen Saunders from the Chiefs. Yes, they have Nathan Shepard from the Jets. Players are bigger players, better in the running game, appear to be bridge players. They really need that pass rush specialist in the interior defensive line to help out these edge defenders. And the reason why this is a risk, the reason why this player Bresee did fall is because he has some injury issues. He tore his ACL in 2021 and had a shoulder injury in 2022. But he's 6'5", 298 pounds, extremely versatile, and could line up everywhere on the defensive line. He has great size and strength and all the tools of a high-end prospect. But this can be an insane project that really does pay off the back end of this season and next year. And the Saints did sign some defensive tackles like we mentioned earlier, so they're going to be okay in the interim. So in the Saints draft, they found a receiver who could be an insurance policy and quite possibly a steal, a running back and quarterback to develop who could turn out to be special, some competition at guard, and also some competition at the defensive line, helping complete the lack of pass rush specialists on the roster right now. And that is why Derek Carr is stoked, reacting to Foster Moreau getting signed. The mission hasn't changed, let's get it. Head coach Dennis Allen is in his 2nd year. He has all the tools and all the players available to ball out and take this team to the next level. Some people are hard on the guy, but he took over a team last year that was going through a transition, and it was a team that Sean Payton ultimately rejected and decided he didn't want any part of. And now the Saints have the easiest schedule in the NFL. According to the rankings last year and the win percentages last year, the Saints have hands down the easiest schedule in the NFL. You got to play the NFC South where nobody has a franchise quarterback really, and then you play the Lions, the Bears, the Jags, the Giants, the Bucks, the Titans. I'm going to go out and say that's not too bad. And then you're playing the Packers, who could be sneaky. The Rams could be good if, Matthew Stafford's healthy. The Vikings are a talented team, and the Patriots are always solid defensively. But you look at this schedule here, it is not difficult at all. It's a lot of teams who are in a transition period. There's no team out here on this list that is like the Buffalo Bills, that is like the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, Minnesota Vikings, hands down, is the most difficult team that the New Orleans Saints are going to play next season, and and the Jacksonville Jaguars. They did make the playoffs last year as well. The rest of the teams, especially because the Rams have injury issues, I'm sleeping on. Let me know your record prediction for the New Orleans Saints in the 2023 season, and if you want more NFL content from me and more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to this channel, WiFiWillie NFL. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.